Welcome everyone to our free agent showcase playoffs. Two teams of free agents showing off their skills. They played their first battles, and now one battle remains. But only one team can be the champion. Will it be Team Zan pulling out the victory, or will Team Ryan be golden? Let's raise the curtains to see who's backstage. I'm Toadette, and with me is the analyst Chico and our play-by-play Sun Hawk and our caller Bryce T. Well, as we are moving on to King's Row, what do our lovely casters have to say about this exciting match?
Hello, I'm Sunhawk, and here with me is Bryce D. Our first map, we are going to be hopping into King's Row, the hybrid map that has really stood the test of time meta-wise.
I'm just excited to see how well Team Zan brings the fire to this fight. The last two matches that they played have been 2-0 sweeps. Rien losing their first match, but still sweeping the loser bracket, beating out Team Gattaca 2-1. So for this final match, I'm really excited to see which team can pull out ahead.
So let's get into it.
Now entering King's Row.
Like you said, King's Row, tried and true, always an exciting match. Very popular pick for hybrid. So as teams start to get set up, we'll be seeing which comps teams will be running. Definitely, depending on what we've seen in the past, they might be running the very meta Ryan Zarya, very brawl-heavy pick, but comp. But we might also be seeing a bit of a sort of a mixed dive with a Ryan or a Diva, as we see on the Team Zan side. We are seeing sort of a bit of a brawling combo with the Ryan Zarya, Zen, and Brig, but we might also probably be seeing a bit of a pharmacy with Yoda and Eagle. And on the flip side, we're seeing it sort of a mixed with the triple tank with Zarya, Hog, and Diva to get that bit of a dive comp going in with Lucio to help with the speed boost, and Moira to get that really quick and efficient burst healing, as well as Sleepy Panda on the Widow. Definitely going to be trying to keep Yoda Bite out of the air and keep sort of pressure off of the rest of their team.
And you gotta remember that Team Ryan is still in the spawn room, so they can always switch things up, which teams tend to do.
Attackers incoming.
And yeah, Sleepy Panda is going to be the key one, as you said, to keep that Pharah out of the air. Because Yoda Bite gets taken out, then really Team Zan loses all of their damage. They only really have tanks and supports to deal damage, which aren't the greatest.
Exactly. And we might be seeing SPG switching off of that Lucio right after their team gets out of the gate, just to give them that initial speed boost, especially since they're running a pretty dive-heavy comp. But I guess Sleepy's switching to the Ryan, so they are running a quad tank, which, very, very popular if a team can run it right. But as this fight gets started, we're seeing Team Ryan already pushing past the choke and onto the point.
And they're going to take the positioning on the point, making Team Zan run into them. Sleepy Panda is going to get that initial charge to open it up, and the Ryans are standing back to back. You normally don't see that. And here we go. It seems that Team Ryan has the positioning on the point, but the early shatter from Team Zan to take back to keep the point.
And Yoda taking out SVG and Kevin, knocking out their supports, which left all those tanks all by themselves. Really only the Roadhog. Oh, and Dolphin. Dolph, though, knocked out, running back to point to try and get back into their mech. But after that first strong push, they weren't really able to protect their healers all as much. They had all that health with their tanks, but really weren't able to capitalize on any of the pushes. But that early shatter by Decibalis was definitely really helpful. And Sleepy Panda with the Flame Strike to start this battle off. We're seeing Rally being popped by Team Zan to try and get their team some extra armor for this push. Sort of but kills just being traded back and forth. Both teams are down one. It's really going to depend on who can get the next kill. Sono knocking down the other Zarya, so it's going to leave Team Ryan to fall back unless they can really get the extra picks that they needed. But looks like they're going to be falling back and switching up their comps just a bit more to turn off or switch off of that quad tank that really wasn't able to be capitalized upon too much.
do take a look at the ultimate economy for Team Van, they do have all of his ults. There is the grab coming out. You might see there's the rocket barrage to finish out the grab combo.
Definitely, those 4 kills just automatically shut down that push. We do see teams Ryan getting one tick already, but with 1 minute and 45 seconds left, they're really gonna have to carefully time their ults. They do have ult advantage, but Zombie with that grab really just needs Yodabite to build up that barrage, unless he can get knocked out of that fight early. But we do see both support ults being taken in on Ryan's side, so Team Zan's really gonna have to be careful with how they time their ults here. And Boots with the double kill, knocking out both their Mercy and their Widowmaker. With 1 minute left, it doesn't seem like they're going to be able to have a few more pushes to capture the first point here on King's Row. Ooh. Yodabite knocked down already. We might be seeing a res going up. Yep, Eagle's going in for the res. The shield's being thrown in to protect them from
My ultimate is ready.
Virazer on the Widowmaker. We are going to be seeing a Shatter and both tank ults on from Team Ryan, so they're really going to have to be careful that they can push that Zenyatta ult so that they can really capitalize on all the damage. But we do see 4 quick kills and and infrared. Team Ryan's pushed onto the point. Zan's going to have to give that up to them in order to be able to get positions built up so that they can stop Ryan from continuing to push his payload.
And after realizing that was my mic was muted for that fight, they only took that point 4 with only 20 seconds left. And
Definitely cutting it close.
Boots didn't even get the chance to use his transcendence because he was knocked into the ground by that shatter, which really opened and closed the fight immediately.
Exactly. And Team Ryan is definitely being really proactive with going after the supports. Boots has had his trans for a while, but he hasn't been able to really have the ability to focus in and use it. You're seeing Virazer being knocked out. Ooh, with 2 quick kills with that. Ooh.
And then Yodabite tries to go right back, but he does get headshotted by Kevin, and he can't do enough. Eagle on the Mercy is still back here, and is gonna get staggered hard with Sleepy Panda charging in right into the wall.
Especially Kevin with that trans. Didn't feel the need was necessary to even bother pressing Q on that. Just flipped around and threw a couple of his orbs onto that head and knocked Yodabite out of the fight.
And Sleepy Panda is going to charge Yodabite off the map, but with himself he could have just charged her into the wall, but EM's VM, and that's what's going to happen. You see Zombie waiting with this grab, maybe looking for a C9 of them.
Looking for a sneaky grab up here on the high ground, right behind where the rest of Zan is.
He's spotted.
Timer.
He's spotted by Eagle. And then there's Fair up there. She might get staggered super hard. There it is, she's in. She is committed. And she's gonna die. That's a huge stagger.
Yeah, especially with that grab. I mean, the rest of Ryan doesn't really have much of another ult to build off of. But again, it does really damage the push that Team Ryan's going to be able to have, since they have to wait again on that off tank. But it seems like they're taking the high grounds, getting ready to push into this next point. But Yodabite, seeing that, is already giving them some trouble.
My ultimate is charging.
Yodabite is going to need to build his ult combo with that grab, but really a fair firing into a grab can be enough to knock it out as long as there's not the Transcendence, which there is. There's even a Transcendence and a Valve going on. Both teams have upped their both Valves. Boots did not have the chance to pop his Transcendence because he doesn't have it, but Yodabite is going to be able to kill one with the help of her Reinhardt. And Golf just gonna slowly die, and that's gonna be first round. Team Ryan is only going to make it first point and about almost second.
unfortunately, right there at the end, Zombie was having some trouble with the other team Zen and accidentally right-clicked himself to death. Really just insult to injury right there.
And we might be seeing a Junkrat out of Dolph. But you're still in the Assemble Heroes, and people like to change things up just to spice things up. Just fool around in spawn room.
I like to think they're trying their hardest to throw us casters through a loop, but you know. But again, we are seeing, you know, unless things change up on Team Ryan side, we are seeing a double sniper comp, which definitely is, you know, rewarded in this meta, especially with the Ryan and Zarya on defense. We're seeing sort of a similar mirrored comp on Zan's side, but Yodabite might have some trouble running into two snipers, especially if Kevin can get that Discord orb on him. Byrazor doesn't even really need to get a full headshot. He can get 2 body shots and will easily knock him out of the sky and really control the amount of pressure that is being put on Team Ryan's supports, but especially on attack. We are seeing Tynair on the Brigida, and with that Ryan and Zarya, they're really going to be trying to group all of Team Ryan together to try and brawl them off of this point, so they can focus all of that damage and all of their focus all onto one point, all onto one person. They really only need to make 1 or 2 quick picks before they can just steamroll the rest of the point.
And Team Zan is going to go with their same comp, because if it ain't broke, don't fix it, as we like to say around here. And the sonar is going to come through to make sure that they are seen, and Kevin can fire up that right click and be able to finish him off. But it was actually Zombie who did most of that damage with that rapid shot. And
Storm Arrow is deadly, especially when Orion doesn't have his shield up.
And they're going to rotate through Hotel, forcing Team Ryan to rotate smartly back on the point, but they did leave their Zenyatta and Hanzo back there against a team of 6, and despite their best efforts, they cannot hold.
And again, like I was saying, Byrazor up on that high ground in that perfect position. Again, who was there a minute ago, jumped down and right back up. Already 2 kills on that spot. It's really down to Yodabite to really punish him being in those positions to try and stop that intense damage being thrown down on his team.
And if we do take a look, you'll see that Zombie has his ultimate kind of early, and that he's gonna have to wait for his Zarya to be able to do that combo. And Byrazor gets that Inversight and pops it instantly, and the Brigade pops a rally in response. The Dragon Strike is kind of fired to the ground.
Yeah, it seems like he was trying to focus in on getting most of them who were on the point. Oh, but that charge! Right into their line, knocking down Tynair.
And then that forced the push from their team, and they pushed right back with that shatter, and then Yodabite finishing off everyone that was on the ground. The Ryan can't push forward because he has to stay on this payload effort.
No. Yodabite having some trouble with SPG through that mouth, but was able to push him back effectively. Just knocking Zombie out, leaving Team Ryan without some of their important damage. They really have to push up and get to right near this point, because they're closing in on that point that they really need, and they do have the ults they need, and it does come down to Zombie.
Oh, here he comes. There's the 3-man, and there's the
4-man.
There's a grab there, but it's not gonna matter. There's a Transcendence, and that's a 5k from Yodabite. And then there's the trade. There's the 6k.
As a good friend of mine once said, Santa Maria, what a 5-6 piece by Yodabite there. It definitely had the response to the Widowmaker. Not exactly sure why they weren't focusing on Yodabite, especially how deadly the Pharah can be on this map. Getting those last two kills right here.
And I believe that we are going to send it back to our production host Toadette.
Yeah, yeah. What a lovely play of the game. It was a great matchup, especially strong pushes and holds from Team Zan. But with that being said, we have our lovely analyst Chico. What do you have to say about this match?
Oh, it was quite like a dominant performance from Team Zan in the whole of that match over both rounds. And I think, in my opinion, it comes down to two things, which is Team Zan were a lot better at managing their ults. So they always seem to have something to counter Team Rand's ults. Like if they wanted to shatter, they had a trans up, or if they wanted to grab, they had a trans. So I think in that respect, they were just a lot better. And also, they were much, much better at capitalizing on mistakes. So if someone was out of position, they would punish them for that, and then they would just steamroll through. And I think it comes down to that overall.
So basically, great ult economy from Team Zan, and also great teamwork, great team play, especially deserved Far play of the game. Do our casters of Play by Play have something to add for this? On this?
I mean, like I was saying during that match, it really came down to whether it was Virazer or Yodabite, which one could counter the other. As we saw with that play of the game, Virazer was doing well enough, at trading with Yodabite, but they weren't able to knock him out of the sky. Even before that 6-piece with his ult and that grab, he was really pretty much had free reign over the rest of their team. Virazer just wasn't able to get the shots in that he really needed to knock him out of the sky. And then Zombie was running, pretty good DPS. He was on the Hanzo, had that really quick pick at the very beginning of Team Zan's attack, but wasn't able to really capitalize and synergize with the rest of his team on that Tracer. The comp that they were running wasn't really rewarding that kind of play.
Well, enough about Team Zan. I mean, let's talk about Team Rien a bit. I mean, did you see Kevin on Zenyatta? The first round, he just kept getting kills and gave Farah a very hard time in the first round. What do you guys think?
He was when they were on defense and running that double sniper, he was the third sniper in that composition. Zenyatta, with his right clicks, Kevin used those very effectively. And I'm sure that he was target calling with those Discord orbs to hit, and I'm sure he was working very closely in the comms with Virazer.
Team Ren were definitely they needed to pick someone to play around. They could either play around Virazer or Kevin, who were both fragging out. And if they picked on them to play around, they would have definitely been able to counter Yodabite on Farah, but Yodabite was just getting pocketed and played around, so he was able to pop off and destroy. But then none of the players on Team Ren were getting the full support that was needed for them to properly frag.
Well, I guess you're right, but I mean, anything can still happen on the second map, which is Rialto. Am I right? The newly released map. I'm excited. What do you guys think about this map?
It's definitely anyone's game at this point still. We've seen Rialto being played a little bit more now that it's been opened up to Season 4. A lot of teams are definitely excited about it. I'm sure Yodabite is definitely extremely happy about it. It's definitely a very Pharah-friendly map with those boops and the sort of tight corridors. But, Virazer on Team Ryan is definitely going to have a bit of an easier time. There's some really long sight lines on Rialto. So it's really going to come down to, once again, if, Kevin keeps bringing that, really, really intense and, high damage output Zen gameplay. As long as the tanks are still being as aggressive as they've been that we've seen, it'll definitely be another close match. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how this one plays out.
I'm definitely looking forward too. But one thing I have to say about Rialto, it's a pretty map. And what I am hoping to see is a Widowmaker. Because I've seen people play Widowmaker on this map, and usually they pop off. I don't know, a far-friendly map. Maybe that's why people like to counter her with Widowmaker. I don't know. I'm excited. I hope we see some good plays on this map. So
For
what
sure.
is Yeah, what does our play-by-play Sunhawk have to say?
It's a very. If you ever seen the streets of Rialto, they are very small. So it is a very brawling comp friendly map, along with some Pharah, because there are those bridges, and of course Pharah's like getting those environmental kills.
Well, as we enter Rialto, I'll leave it up to you guys. So good luck, have fun, and I hope we see some exciting plays.
Thank you. Let's see. Razor needs. Let's see what Razor can do on this map, because there are plenty of long sight lines, but there are plenty of short ones as well. As long as he can stick to those long sight lines, he should be good.
Definitely, and I think Tyner is another, another player to watch out for, especially on that Brigida with her whip shot. Another possibility of, environmental kills. And again, Kevin on that Zenyatta is definitely something that Team Zan is going to have another response to if they're going to be running. Again, Yodabite on that Pharah. Not much of a different comp until we're still waiting to see the rest of what Team Rien is going to be bringing. But it does look like Team Zan's going to be holding just past this first choke, which is definitely very smart and popular pick. They aren't giving up too much of a spawn advantage. But we are seeing Team Rien running, at the moment, a pretty, dive-heavy comp, with Razor on the Widow. Definitely more, easier to combo with different types of comps that we've seen in the meta currently. But, if they can combo and communicate well on the dive and focus on Yodabite and Tyner, they're definitely going to have the advantage on this point.
Now let's see, Yodabite getting the early pick off on Razor. That's probably an omen on how this match is going to go for Razor. But they are still pushing the payload. Razor was right next to spawn when he died, so he should be good to go. Now it's going to be brawling comp versus the mobility comp. The key to the contest is there from the Reinhardt. He's just close enough to do so. And Razor is able to pick up boots in the backline with the help of Zombie. And now Zombie is being pressured in the backline by this Pharah, taking some pressure off the front line. And the Ryan's going to fall. That's going to open up things for this dive to start coming in, because they do not have that Reinhardt. They don't have the shield to block the poke from the Zenyatta and D.Va. And it seems Zombie's going to capitalize with
3-piece, 4-piece. That is the point for Team Rien. They are going to push this all the way, and that pick on the Rien for Team Zan was definitely the deciding factor on how well they were going to push that. Once that pick was made, they were able to just push effectively onto the rest of that payload to the rest of the point. But we do see Infrared on Team Rien as they get ready for this next push, and Zombie once again getting ready to go through their backline and put some pressure on those healers.
And what we'll be looking for is how fast Yodabite can charge that barrage, and if he will be able to use it this fight. They're all sitting there on here. Well, the Pharah and Mercy were. Let's see what Yodabite can do. Raining of rockets. He does have that barrage. Let's see if that Zarya can get that grab for next fight, or if they're just going to solo the barrage and try and out-heal any damage that comes onto her. And here we go, the point is contested. It is now time. Everyone is diving on to that Mercy, and the Mercy is able to get away thanks to that Pharah, and Yodabite's going to take out the supports
and
of
the
Team Rien.
And not letting Razor get out of that.
And the Widow.
Didn't even need to wait for Sonohead's Graviton, and especially seeing how he's been playing, he'll get that back in no time. If not, definitely that Rien and Brigida can just get in there and swing to their heart's content. But we do see Primal Rage coming out, ready for Team Rien, so they might need to use that either to keep that Winston alive. But we do see Rien with that Earth Shatter, so it might be which tank will throw down their ult first.
You see Sleepy Panda just slowly creeping up on this point. He's alone, but there you go. There is his team. He's forced to prompt Primal range really early. He is on Boots right now. He's shoving him into this back alley, and he's able to kill him. And he's assisted by his friendly tank ult, the Diva Bomb. But in the meantime, he's got a Shatter off, and that's gonna be 2, make that 3 dead with the Boots killing Zombie.
You know, we've been talking about Yoda all game, but, you know, Decibalis on that Reinhardt with that perfectly timed Earth Shatter, taking down both of their supports, and going after that Diva just to knock her out before the match, or before, like, at the very end of that fight. But Lyrazer knocking Yoda down finally to, you know, open up the skies so the rest of the team Ryan can push through to that point, because now we're going into a 5v6 situation.
Yep, and the 5v6 is going to be hard, but they can probably push through it. Go, Zombie's able to pick off Yoda Bite, making things just a bit worse, but it's going to be rezzed away with the Transcendence from Boots. And you see Kevin back here, he's just firing, and he still hasn't used his Transcendence, and Yoda Bite, another barrage.
It seems like they were just... He was okay with letting that kill go as long as it staggers SPG some more, because we're just under the 2-minute mark for Team Ryan on attack. Kevin, the only ultimate on Team Ryan's side. They're really going to have to be careful with you know, how they use that. They do have a Grav and an Earth Shatter, so it's really going to come down to which one of those ults Kevin feels is more dangerous for his team.
Oh, and the Winston's going to get caught. He can't make the jump back. No, he misses the jump and he gets punished for that. But
that's definitely a crucial pick for Team Zan, as now Team Ryan is down a main tank and not really able to capitalize on their dives as effectively. But we do see Vyrazer off of the Widow and on creep, but once again shut down.
And Zombie is so far in the back line that he wasn't even a part of that fight. It was a 4-6. He is still super far. He's almost by the enemy spawn. You can't spawn camp if they don't die.
Exactly.
They're
It's
going
really
to
come down to the communication. And now Yoda Bite knows he's there, so it's going to be, you know, especially harder for him to try and dive that backline, especially with that rocket coming down on him.
There's a Shatter and a Grab, and there's the Transcendence. Sadly, a Transcendence will not solve a bomb. Good thing it was a friendly bomb. And then Yoda Bite with another barrage gets another 2. He is insane with these barrages, getting at least 2 every time. Zombie finally does something when he's in the backline with Boots. When you're that far in the backline, it's hard to make an impact.
And he's trying to poke that Mercy through that Rhine shield as best he can. Now that the Brigade is on him, it's going to be a little bit harder for him to try and capitalize on that.
And the Tracer is still there in the backline. I don't know if they've seen her. It doesn't look like they have. And
It definitely seems like they don't really care at this point.
And now she has to force. Now she's forced to 1v1 a rallying beat, not what you wanted to do. And it seems like overtime is going to take away the Valkyrie Mercy, trying to keep everyone up for the last second. But Transcendence can out heal more. And it seems like Team Zan is going to hold on to this despite the pulse bomb on Peach.
Class rocket on SPG is definitely what did him in. Barely had any help at that point, but I think what was a crucial sort of misstep on Team Ryan's side was they switched Sleepy Panda off of that main tank and onto the Hanzo. Because personally, what I felt like is what they really didn't need was another projectile DPS. They definitely were doing well enough with that you know, the amount of health and just damage that a Winston or a Reinhardt can put out. You know, running dive into a Brigida is definitely a strange choice, and it's definitely not a choice that, you know, a team should be making if they can't outplay or they can't focus that Brigida down. But especially with Decibalis on that Reinhardt, they were definitely sort of running themselves into a wall of shields that they really couldn't have done much about, especially with Yoda Bite on that Pharaoh just flying above them. They were really just pressured on everything from the get-go. I felt like if they had switched to that brawling comp, that Team Zan was really outplaying them with, they were trying to brawl with a comp that against a comp that they really weren't suited to fight up against. And if they were able to call their dives with Zombie, it would have been a little bit easier to play with that or around him. But having him that far in their backline with really no support, he was kind of just left to camp that health kit in case he was out of that recall or out of his blinks. We do see sort of a similar comp being run on Team Rien side. No tanks. We do see Virazer on that far, but when Sleepy Panda on the Bastion. Interesting pick. We've seen a game with a Bastion earlier. It can be played well, but I guess it just comes down to it.
That shield tank, it tends to be harder to do as well with Bastion. And it seems to be running in no tanks into Yodabite. Yodabite gets free reign over them because they don't have the tanks. And Zombie's right there. He's already in the backline on this Tracer and Mercy. It's extremely hard to hit a shot on to a Tracer that is blinking around you. And here we go. Bastion still hasn't shown himself. He's about to jump into the backline, and there he goes. And he gets melted because of those Zarya bubbles.
Again, Zombie on that backline was easily countered by Tynair. Just shield bash in the whip shot. Easy combo is just perfect to knock down, knock down fast moving DPSs. Just on a hit with double kill. Oof.
It seems like that Team Rien are sticking to their no tank composition. Yes, we all know that Bastion turns into a tank, but that does not make anything.
Wrong tank, but again, no changes to comps on either side as Team Zan now has the spawn advantage. Fires are close to his ult, so maybe he'll be able to throw that down and maybe switch to something. We definitely need to see a tank on the field on Team Rien's side because they just don't have the health to it's just a war of attrition, and Team Zan is winning it right now.
And Yodabite is now also on that Bastion. It is now a war of Bastions. But Yodabite does have that Rien and Zarya to protect him. Virazer doing the same thing that Yodabite was doing. So seems like Ferris are doing great in this game.
And as we said before, it's definitely a Thara friendly map.
It seems like Yodabite and Team Zan are going to win this fight.
As they're nearing the point, and Kevin was in their backline, managed to knock down Yodabite, but wasn't able to really capitalize anymore as he was essentially left by himself. It's going to come down to maybe Sleepy Panda can get some use out of this ult, otherwise it looks like it's going to go to Team Zan.
Team Zan still do have 4 minutes, even if they do lose this fight, to get not that far. Sleepy Panda is going to get that kill, but it's going to get rezzed immediately. Both Transcendences are out, and Sleepy Panda is still on this high ground, just trying to shred through. But he does not have a shield, which can be treacherous for a Bastion. Most of the time, it's just basic knowledge that you have a shield with a Bastion, but Sleepy Panda is going against that.
I mean, at the moment, it's working for Team Rien, but again, we're going to be seeing... right, and we do see Dolph switching towards the D.Va. So again, a tank that doesn't...
Still not a shield.
It's definitely an odd pick to work with the Bastion, but we do see Sleepy mirroring that tank configuration, so, we'll be seeing another tank on the field for Team Rien here coming soon, but same with Yodabite, and
sort of just on this backline. Does not have a bomb, but he's going to be close to it. And let's get into this war of tanks. Except that Boots decided that he didn't want it, so he killed Sleepy Panda, and then Zombie went and killed Yo. This is a very mixed fight.
It's definitely an unconventional comp on the side of Team Ryan, but it is surprisingly working. It's always exciting to see something that's a little bit out of meta still working, as both teams are going into this. But we do see almost every single ult on Team Zan's side, so all they really need to do is just time their ults together, tank configuration with a Graviton, or Shatter with a tank configuration. It's really going to come down to how soon Kevin can get his trans to keep his team going. But we do see Valkyrie being popped by Eagle.
And Jedi does pop that tank configuration, does kill the D.Va who popped out of mech to get it back, but she will get it back because she got blown up by the tank. And it seems that this is going to be it. That's going to be the fight, and it seems that Team Zan has won the fight.
And they only have one player on the payload, so it's not moving as fast as it could be, but had... Close.
And
we'll chalk that up to Caster's curse.
Team Riot comes back with a Bastion jumping spontaneously onto point along with Fire-Razor's Barrage and Barek Rockets. So it seems like they are going to hold on. Okay. 55 seconds left, and it's really coming down to the wire here. We do see Decibalis on the Winston, trying to a more active counter to that Bastion. But Boots with that trans and Tyner with that pulse bomb, there's a really really gonna have to be careful with how they use their ults. But Yoda by knocking Sticky Candy out of the fight early. That is exactly what they needed, and now they need to combo this bomb. There it is, a bomb grab. That's all they needed, really. And now they just have to deal with the Zenyatta and Farah, and that's about it. That should be about the game. There's the D.Va as well. There are also this Bastion around the corner, so I don't think he's going to be able to touch or do anything.
They're going to have the ability to contest. It's going to come down to how well they can do it. Knocking that Mercy down was really crucial.
And that's everyone. That should be about the game. Wait, who's contesting? Oh, it's a Farah in the sky, but she flew too high.
Flew just a bit too high.
And that is going to be the game. Play of the game brought to you by Zombie on this Tracer is most likely to be that pulse bomb into most likely going to be a pulse bomb. And here it is. He flips that Mercy to get the pulse bomb. Throws the pulse bomb at her, but misses because, well, she's already dead. Then continues to kill Zenyatta with 4 health.
But again, all the cards going to Team Zan here. 26,000 damage blocked, 11,000 healing done. Just crazy numbers on the side of Team Zan.
And we are going to send it back to our host, Odette.
Well, I guess that's the free agent showcase, right? But there were very exciting team fights, especially from Team Zan, in my opinion. What do you think was the best of Team Zan?
Sorry. Personally, I have a lot to say about that match. That was very, very, very interesting. We had dive against Brigitte on the first attack, which a lot of people are like, no, you can't run that. But it was very promising. We had Tracer and Widow, extreme synergy. The Zombies Tracer was dominating, but then I think they sort of just lost the synergy, because if you can focus fire enough, you can go straight through that Brig and straight through everyone else. And then the defense just stopped their momentum, and I mean, we saw some insane shatters from Team Zan's Reinhardt and just some very, very carry plays. And then on round 2, I was like, what's going on? Because I thought maybe they've given up, maybe it's some 9 billion IQ strat that none of us have any idea about. And it actually, I'm very impressed with it. It worked for a long time. And I think that's because those sort of comps with the Bastion and the Farah, they need a lot of coordination from the other team to beat. And because the attack had defended pretty easily and saw they don't have a tank, they're thinking, this is easy. So they sort of relax a bit, and then they're like, they come into the last fight and they're like, oh, we could actually lose this, and then they try and they actually end up pulling through in the end.
Yeah, well, I don't think it was a very odd choice. Yes, maybe the total composition was odd, but the picks in itself, in my opinion, they were actually pretty smart because Rialto is such a fight alley map, and there's not much where you can go, right? It's mostly only on the path of the payload, right? So if you go full on spam damage like Bastion, Pharah, or Junkrat, you'll probably hit someone even if you don't have great aim, am I right?
Exactly.
Yeah, you would know a lot about that.
Oh.
Aim is overrated. So does anyone have to add something about to this?
I mean, I feel like we should throw out some MVPs on either side if anyone has any ideas for that.
Yoshobite.
I would want to one to Zombie, definitely. His Tracer was insane. Like,
Yeah,
definitely.
Just that play of the game that you've just seen was like very, very good.
Mm-hmm. Definitely game sense wise, a smart player, was really in their backline well enough. Managed to go most of the game on Rialto without being noticed, and when he was, he knew when it was time to push the backline and harass the healers a bit.
Yeah, definitely.
But I definitely want to give some credit to the main tank on Team Zan, Decibalis. He was definitely as aggressive and as in the brawling line as you want a main tank to be. Some, a few missteps on King's Row with keeping his shield down at the, not the greatest timing, but with the pressure that he was putting on the Team Ryan front line, he definitely saved his team a lot of pressure, and took a lot of the beating that the rest of the team was able to sidestep out of.
Yeah, you're definitely right about that. And talking about MVPs, let's thank our producer and our referee. I mean, we wouldn't be able to do it without Moe and Quella. Thank you so much. We wouldn't have done it without you. And with that being said, all right, have a great evening and see you next match.
Fun fact, Team Zan won every match.